Hi everyone, today I'm going to be doing a review on Mary Poppins. So Mary Poppins has been one of my favorite movies as a kid, and I have actually never read the books. So my roommate was very nice enough and got me Mary Poppins last Christmas, and I finished it, and I wanted to do a special review on it. So Mary Poppins, this book is about 1,000 pages, and it has 4 of the Mary Poppins stories by P.L. Travers. Now, she wrote, I believe, 6 to 8 books, I think 6. But the last 2 are more vignettes, so the ones that are not included in here are Mary Poppins A to Z, which are just like little snippets of something happens with A, something happens with B, and Mary Poppins in the kitchen, and that is kind of like that, just with recipes and stuff. So these are I guess the 4 main Mary Poppins books, which is Mary Poppins Comes Back, Mary Poppins Opens the Door, Mary Poppins in the Park. Now, it's very different from the 1950s, 60s movie with Julie Andrews, but there's still some elements of it in here, so I'll show you. So the character of Mary Poppins, it's very different. She is very vain, kind of a little self-absorbed sometimes. There's some little parts of the book. So Mary Poppins and the kids are walking from the store, and it says, "Just look at you," said Mary Poppins to herself, particularly noticing how nice her new gloves with the fur tops looked. They were the first pair she had ever had, and she thought she would never grow tired of looking at them in the shop windows and with her hands inside them. And having examined the reflection of the gloves, she went carefully over her whole person, her coat, her hat, her scarf, her shoes, with herself inside, and thought that, on the whole, she had never seen anybody looking quite so smart and distinguished. There's another passage where it says, oh, the kids were thinking A, B, and C, and the second child was thinking A, B, and C, and Mary Poppins was thinking about Mary Poppins. So there's a lot of stuff like just sentences like that where it's Mary Poppins was thinking a lot about herself. And she's also very snappish. There will be times where the kids ask a question and she's like, well, easy comes as easy goes. Or, just little phrases like that, and just very sharp. And I'll say that she'll give the kids a look and they'll just be like, okay, we're not asking any more questions. There's a little passage that goes, Mary Poppins stared at him, Michael, and said he could not tell if she was more astonished than angry, but she looked like as if she was both, and her voice when she spoke was more awful than her look. Did I understand you to say that, she repeated the word slowly between her teeth, that I came down from somewhere and on the end of a string? So there'll be times where the kids will be like, well, you came down from the sky on a balloon, or you came down from here, and she'll be like, no, I didn't, and then the kids will find a little proof that she did. So, but besides all this, besides Mary Poppins being a bit vain, a little snappish, the kids love her, and wherever she goes, there's just adventures and magic just following her, and you can see why the kids just enjoy her company so much. So Mary Poppins appears to the kids 3 times, and the 4th book is kind of like what happens during one of the times that she's with them, like during one of the periods that she's with them. And the last time she leaves them, they're looking out the window, and the kids are saying, it says, Mary Poppins herself had flown away, but the gifts that she had brought would remain for always. We'll never forget you, Mary Poppins, they breathe, looking up into the sky. So you can see that throughout all their adventures, they just had come to love her and just have a fun time with her. So, which was nice. So, she takes care of the Banks children, and in the movie, there's only 2, Jane and Michael. But in the stories, there's actually 5 kids in the Banks family. So there's Jane and Michael, which most of the adventures take place for Jane and Michael. They're the ones who are having the adventures. The next 3 are very younger. So there's the twins that come after them, John and Barbara. So the first couple books, they're just like a year old, and then they get a little bit older. And then a baby joins them, Annabelle. So there's 5 kids. Let's see, there is. So here's a picture of Mary Poppins taking all 5 kids to the park. Jane and Michael, John and Barbara, Annabelle. So that was kind of like a big difference from the movies and the books. There are some very iconic scenes that do happen in the book. So in the movie, there's the bird woman. She says, feed the birds, tuppence a bag. And of course, they have that in the story. There is, of course, the iconic of her leaving with her umbrella from number 17 Cherry Tree Lane. And so through each book, each chapter is kind of like an adventure for the kids. And there were some really fun adventures. There are some where they go into a garden and they shrink, and then Mary Poppins comes and rescues them. There's another one where she tells them the story of King Cole, and he was not always a merry old soul. And she told the story of how he became a merry old soul, which was a fun one. One of my favorites is a story Mary Poppins tells the kids, and they ask her about New Year's Eve and midnight. And they're like, when does the last of the new year end? And she's like, well, on the first stroke of midnight. When does the new year start? Well, on the last stroke of midnight. Well, what happens in between there? So then she leaves books open on the nursery shelf, and she leaves like Robinson Crusoe, a fairy tale book, and a Mother Goose book. And at the stroke of midnight, all the characters from the book come. So that was actually one of my favorites. You can kind of see the pictures. You can see there's Beauty and the Beast. There's the fox and the goose, the Hey Diddle Diddle, and the Witch and Sleeping Beauty. So so the Banks, Jane and Michael get to meet all these characters, and they just think it's fantastic. So overall, these were very, very fun to read. Long book of 1,000 pages for these 4 books. I am glad I read them just because I've loved the Mary Poppins movie, and I know that there's another movie coming out, I think, within the year. So I think Mary Poppins comes back, or they'll change stuff up a little bit. But I wanted to do this review. I wanted to read the book just because I knew the new movie was coming out, and I wanted to just make sure I read the old ones. P.L. Travers, the author of this book, was very, very protective of Mary Poppins, and it took many, many years for Walt Disney to actually get her to be okay with him making a movie of Mary Poppins. And even then, it wasn't quite what she wanted. So I'm very interested to see how different the character of Mary Poppins is from the old one to the old one where Julie Andrews is very fun, singing, very bright, to maybe the more slightly darker Mary Poppins, where she can be stern, but yet so yeah. So anyway, if you had read Mary Poppins, let me know what you think in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this review, and like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.